Thank you to welcome us, and I really enjoyed the prayer, the songs. It's amazing to feel families so far from Canada, and we are here to talk to you about what we are doing in our centers and to follow the message that David received from El Moria. We are everything starts by ourselves and working on ourselves. And the big message from our leader, Natasha Kolesar, who is the mother of Luca, is to dedicate the work we do in the world to unite the humanity as one family. And to do these amazing ideals that has been led by all the big masters around the world and around the ages. Everything starts by establishing this family inside us. We have billions of cells which are like members of these families, and we have to unite them as one family. And of course, as the scripture said, there is many houses in my house, and we have to establish a peace between all these houses. We all have different faces. We could express the best as the worst, and in certain conditions, everything flare up in the good way, and other conditions, the worst expand. But more we grow, we harvest the beauty in us, less there is space for the weeds and the other things to take place in our life. So today I wish to perhaps to introduce first the fact that there is one thing to start to work first on ourselves, which is taking care of our needs. And this is something that Marshall Rosenberg, that I know you know of, has so much underlined. The fact that most of war starts by not taking care of the need of ourselves and the others. And as soon we are able to address the real needs, we stop to mentalize the needs. When we pass the needs in the mental level, we miss them, we not fulfill them, and we start to argue and aggress each other. But behind that, there is always very, very simple needs. And so the thing is that for these needs, we have, let's take the kids. They have three needs: to sleep, to play, and to eat. And we could take that's what built our body. That's what built our first start, our incarnation. And after that, we develop this is for the early childhood. When we develop the childhood, we develop all the needs, which is more the doing. We want to do. I want, I can. And that is another type of need that has been to address to children. If we protect them too much to try to experience, they don't develop this will, this self-confidence. And if we just or if we let them on their own, they hurt themselves. So they don't develop this self-confidence because they fear their will, their strength. So they fear themselves, and they have this lack of confidence again. So it's another need that are there, so important to build our kingdom. When we are teenager, we need to meet the other. We have this flare-up of hormones, and we need first to meet our other part, the feminine part if we are men, masculine part if we are a woman. But more than that, we need to weave links between other. We want to develop connectivity, communication. And these needs sometimes is completely not taken care of. As adults, we need to commit to something that makes sense. We want our life is on purpose, is meaningful, is useful. And many people are seeking to do something that's change, that is significant. And usually the middle age crisis is really the moment where we have tried so many things and say, now cut the crap and do what is really important. And usually we come back to, which are the needs I haven't feed that make me so unsatisfied today. I've run a lot outside of me, and today I no longer have I don't feel useful because, in fact, my kingdom is poor. My kingdom has not been fed on what I need. So that type of thinking making a kind of statement of how are my needs, and I wish to come back to the early childhood, the first three needs. When you see the fact of eating is taking information. When you eat, you just take information all the time. So you educate yourself, you instruct yourself, let's say more. You internalize things. You take life of the creator, and you assimilate it, and that's the way that you recognize, that you learn that you're son and daughter of the creator by eating. So eating is something very profound for children. That's why it's so important to develop an atmosphere. It's really the moment of the church. What we do in church, we do the communion with food and blood, the bread and the blood, and it's exactly the idea of eating. But eating is more than that. So it's developed the mental because the awareness, let's say more the awareness, I prefer this word, and the awareness in between the mental state and the intuition. We have these two words connected between mental corpse and causal corpse. Causal body, sorry. So mental body and causal body. And it's when we can eat information, we can eat from the ground, from people, or from the invisible world. Is always eating, and that's very important because that's how we become aware of who we are. And when we know who we are, suddenly everything melts because we no longer feel disconnected. We feel reconnected to the world and to the universe. The second need is to play, and to play is really important. And children, as we see, if they don't play, they become to be fussy and aggressive, and they move a lot, and they are HDD or whatever we call that. And it's all about the play. And the play is really to develop joy, pleasure, play, pleasure, please. And it's all about connectivity with the other, to throw a ball and have the ball back. And play determine how we are going to walk in life, how we do everything. So play is really linked to exchange, and the law of exchange is really to send goods and receive goods. So we have, when we do activities for working, we produce goods that we are going to share with the other. But of course, we can do that with sharing anything. And the key word in this level is really, is there pleasure? Do we please the other? Are we pleased by the other? So this second part is very important because it will lead how we build our communities, how we build our couples, how we relate to our children, and either to build spiritual little community that are weave together. So how we weave, in fact, linked. And more we are aware of who we are, more it's easy to take life in the play side and to start to put more fun in what we do as kid does. So second big need. And the last need is to sleep. And sleep is the moment where you collapse. So you reintegrate the heaven. You reintegrate your spring. This is a more spiritual moment. This is a moment where you just won. And so learning to sleep is learning to united and to experience this idea to be a family. Humanity united as one family is exactly about sleeping. The moment where you go in life and you like close eyes, you know you're home. Everything is home. Everybody is home. And at that time, you like in the state of sleeping where you abandon yourself. You no longer need weapons or be on your guard because you have made this play enough that you fulfilled in this connectivity that you can let you fall asleep and rest. That's what we do when we meditate, when we internalize ourselves. Each time we elevate ourselves, we try to reach this other state of being where our vibration are so high that in fact we collapse. We enter in another world that's where we receive information and intuition and many things. So sleeping is not something just simple like that. It's something big. And the death is another sleep where we really are completely united before coming back. So these three activities are very... sleeping is very physical because the body needs to rest apparently, but it's a moment where the spirit is more present, or meditating or internalizing moments. Playing is a moment for the heart, but the moment for the soul too, because it's a weaving moment. So do we have pleasure? Do we please? Pleasure for the heart, please for the soul? And do we have this moment of sharing that we want to be pleased, but to please someone is highest. We know that in couples, when we do food, when we have a relationship, and we are able to please our wife, our husband, our children, our parents, we are so more happy than just to be pleased by them. So this is the soul level of needs. And for the mind, again, to come back there, how to eat, what type of food do we take? Do we take heavy food that is so difficult to digest, meaning to understand? More the food is heavy, more it's difficult to understand, so we don't understand. The body is in doubt. When the body is in doubt, we keep the food around us to try to understand it later, so we overcharge ourselves. But taking information is like in our world, which has been led to go very much on this level. We are in a society in an epoch where the awareness is what we have to finish, to be really achieved on the awareness level. So that's explain a bit how subconsciously people do that with taking a lot of information. Information could be just a world of merchant. Today we are no longer led by really philosopher and kings of heaven. We are led by merchant. Merchant, what they provide, they give food, they give goods, so they give information. And so we are really a bit strike and thrive. Ça veut dire quoi, le thrive? Okay. I have my crickets that help my consciousness, so we are just in a world where consummation, you say, to go to Costco and all that, consummation, is the first activity in our life, the main target. Everything is made to go on Amazon, on to everywhere. Sorry for we're not supposed perhaps to broadcast or promote people, but this is what we eat today. So what we eat is really to take goods, to accumulate, but behind that, what we are seeking deeply, in fact, it's information, awareness to understand that we are rich, that there is tons of possibility to be enriched, and if we could transpose this activity more in the causal level, on the intuition level, is to be able to make shopping in the invisible world. And the amazing.ca, or that's not Amazon, but amazing, and to be able to buy the food of angels, of archangels, of masters, and what you do here, in fact, every week. So this is another level of eating. So there is several levels to develop this part of ourselves. So just these three needs, when we transport them in our life, are so deep and so important, and it's so adorable to do that for our kids, but to apply it for us, it's so important when we have specifically conflict with others. And Marshall Rosenberg with the nonviolent communication is amazing to ask us first things: what is your needs? What is the situation? And in this situation, what are your deep needs? Are you able to conceptualize these needs? And on this level, usually women are a bit stronger because living in the concept is more easy for women than for men, who are more on the solution side. That make women crazy sometimes. I just want to be here. I don't want a solution. and the concept is something very important to make us a kind of statement. Which is on first these three needs, to be simple. I miss something that suddenly I'm aggressive, or I attract aggression. That because it's the same, in fact. As we learned this morning on the daily meditation, we just attract what we deserve, but what we deserve is exactly what we have served to us. Deserve come from serving us something. So if we have served us and respect, it's all about respect. Respect our incarnation that we have need to feed, and it is at a certain point our duty. At that time, we have to do this statement of what we forget and come back to that and express, oh, you know, in my situation, these type of needs haven't been fulfilled, and after that, we ask a solution. We make a proposal, second part. We do a proposal to the person, but it's a proposal to ourselves. Now, I no longer want to have that. I really ask you that. And at the end, are we in agreement? Do we have an agreement or not? But first with ourselves too, because sometimes when we have not been used to feed certain part of ourselves, we cannot just snap like that so fast. We have to be gradual. So, but it's important to realize that the needs unfed are really the root of all war. And how could we talk about united the humanity as one family when our own family is in war? So established, as Gandhi say, we want the peace, start by yourself. But now with neuroscience, with many awareness master that have increased our awareness. Master are always aware, but with all the awareness they have shared and the open window we have on all this, the wisdom on the world, today we are really able to address this need deeply. That's why our time is fantastic for that. Never in the past we have been so able to address our needs. So the second things, when we are starting to take care of ourselves, immediately a second needs emerge, which is taking care of the people around us. And the first people around us are, of course, our family and our friends, the people we are living there with. And this become complicated, of course, because any problems, complications that come in between us are always mirroring, echoing what is not developed in ourselves, what we missed. And so each time we are unstabilized by someone, it's talk about a need on us unfed. Unfed? Okay. And so, and for that, we live with people which are a different age, and if each of them echoing a certain developed part of ourselves or undeveloped part, we see very childish behavior that talk about our childhood. We see a very teenager behavior that talk about our teenager age and all that. So we have to do, and it is a bit today with mathematics, the theory of the chords, we have to live several life in the main life. We have to because for the brain there is no time. The little children in us, or baby, is still living in our brain. And every year we have a new pattern through the season. We repattern our brain constantly. So we know that when there have been what we call in psychiatry, a defragmentation, meaning a deep wound when you was kids or teenager or later on, you no longer communicate with this brain. So a part of you has been isolated, has been out of the brotherhood of yourself. And there is fight inside constantly. And that's why you have so much need, because this part of you is still crying, screaming in you. And that was sometimes suddenly a situation come and you're 2 years old. You look grown up, but you're 2 years old, no more. And so but there is a defragmentation which are linked to really a strike or like an emotional whiplash, or being mistreated, being beaten and all stuff, type of stuff, abuse and all that. But there is always too when the needs haven't been fed. So when there was a drought of the basic need, you haven't developed anything that's early childhood, what early childhood demand to be fed, or childhood and all that. The beauty of the neuroplasticity, and either the heart plasticity and the cell plasticity. We see that with the stem cells today, that everything in fact is plasticity, meaning that we can constantly, like a potter, rebuild and remodel things. It's more hard when we are grown up because everything is more petrified. But putting love, putting water on our clay, and we can remodulate it. But we have to first be able to realize that everything echoing us, and so that we have to, as soon we start to weaving together, want to help them, because we start this journey with us, we enter really in the real work. Until we just do our only work alone, we never really are echoing by the world. So we do these things, and after that we have a separate life, which is more the polite life around us, and we try to adapt to the world, hiding our problems. But as soon we want to work as brothers and sisters together to weave a real humanity united as one family, we start a real work as this fight which is in fact the fire that tries to recook us, that help us to when there is a fight, it warms us. You know, we have flare up inside, and it's a good moment, in fact, to melt with water and fire. We can melt this part of us which is like a desert, and to send new plants and to start the real work. That's why it's so important to develop community, spiritual collectivities, any collectivities in fact, because as soon humans are really trying to help each other, for me the spiritual work starts, because we dig and we realize what we haven't planted, and we have nothing to offer there, nothing to offer there. Oh my God, how come? It's never late. The land is there, the kingdom is there, there is many houses in our house, so the house is there to be fed and to be fulfilled. So on this trying to help the other is the best way to alchemize, to make an alchemy on ourselves, and alchemy in the way that there is a matter which is in this specific state, and we could transmute this state instead to just deny it. The worst thing in life is to deny who we are and how the state of the other people. So in this way, this is the practical things of starting a family, because we start that in couple, we start that with our children, and if we could enlarge that to a strong collectivity, dedicate to try to help each other, to share that, it's increased the level of working on ourselves. So this is really a progressive things to do, and that's why it's so important to have everywhere in the world certain collectivities that like you do here, meeting place where we could suddenly have this interaction that's echoing, oh my God, that I have to work on that. In the meantime, oh, thanks God, you go through me and I have that to offer. I realize that I can please my siblings, let's say, as whole brotherhood, whole brothers and sisters. So to go further in these points, that has led us to develop the concept of the importance of prenatal education, because as we said, we have this plasticity all during the life, but around the pregnancy in the first years of life, we have this moment where the mother has a so big power on the children that she can take care of feeding all these needs that the soul and the human soul needs, specifically for the children, trying to forget herself, but in fact not. It's a moment where she will really find herself, trying to give the best to these children. And today we have the support of epigenetics. In the past, it's a long time, many seeker and master talk of this importance. It's in the intuition of every mother, this need of giving the best to the children. Either the native have that's sometimes much more developed than industrial civilization. So to act properly in this second part, which is trying to help each other, we have choose more to act on the level of pregnancy, mother, father, and the family, to help this development to be good, to be the best way, to make all these seeds flourish, and which are typically seeds of happiness. So this is a big part of what we do in the center, first on ourselves, but we give services for population. And to address that in a proper way, we have realized that it's important to address it not just around the pregnancy, which is so short. You know, either the medication, the drugs you find, always you see written not for pregnant women, and most of the time it's not true. They are very good for pregnant women, but they haven't invested on the research on that because the pregnancy is so short that this population is not very financially interesting. That's why they don't do test on it. That most of the time they do that. There is few products which are very hard, really has been tested for mother, but most of them, to avoid to have problems, they just put that. Just to say that pregnancy doesn't interest much because it's a short moment. And that's why it's important to realize that to help parents to be present during the pregnancy and the early childhood, to set the children in a way which is the best for him or for her, we have to address the whole family and the moment of development, which are how you deal first with your unbalance, your health, how you deal with your couple, how you deal, what type of, why do you do children, why do you want to conceive a child, what is the purpose of having a family, sexual education, family plannings, all these matter are very important to slightly work on the key of the vault, which is the vault key of the building, which is really the moment which is so impressive. We know today with epigenetics that the primal health, what we call the primal health, Michel Audin talked about that, and now it has been recognized that the primal health is enrooted all during the 9 months and the 9 months after, let's say. Well, in fact, until 5-6 years old, the children just shock absorb the environment with very few filters. So everything that happens, epigenetics show that it's the environment that selects the genes. So if your mother has a problem, feel powerless in a situation, the power, when there is a stress with power, we have organs in the body specialized in power, which are the liver. And it's a discovery of neuroscience again. So certain organs are linked to certain capacities and qualities. In the past, it was known by the ancients with different way to talk. But today, with the neurology specifically, we start to be able to say these organs shock absorb this type of stress. And with clinical research, we can see that certain organs shock absorb that. So a children in the womb of a mother feeling powerless is going to develop a strong liver. This strong liver has the purpose to send hormones towards mom, so mom is able to survive. So finally, we all survive. So it's not really love, it's more survival instinct. But it makes that the children will be born with a super strong liver. And what's happened to everything which is too strong? It's become weak. So the doctor later on will say, oh, you have a problem with your liver. You have a weak liver. It's always the opposite. I'm an osteopath and I treat people and I see always that, oh, when you take the liver, no, it's not weak. It's too strong. But when you have a Ferrari in the body, you always go to the garage. If you have a Mustang in your stable, you always have problems. You know, they block the box. If they don't run enough, they do problems. So to have a lot of power, go with a lot. It's high maintenance, let's say differently. So if you don't pay attention to give high maintenance to these organs, you will have physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual problems linked to that. So it's funny when you do the statement of your health and you realize, oh, I've developed to save mom a strong spleen, a strong liver, a strong heart, or whatever. It's cool because you have a Ferrari in your garage. So you can use it. You can use it, but you have to do resilience with that. That is become available for you. Most of the time, people start to use it instead of you. They see that you have this power. So they put you in slavery, they take you good for themselves because you're the last one to realize you have that. But you need, because you have something strong, to always run, and people are going to use it for that point. So just a few sides to realize how important it is, this moment of pregnancy, because we select the genes of the children. After that, the children will have to cope with all that. Knowing that, we can help the children to develop the whole, and the whole in a very more useful way, that these children is not going to wait to be 50 to start to use properly the liver, or because it was so strong all the lives that they have problems to keep that, and to be more, because when it's blocked it creates problems, and you could have problem in youth as teenager, and sometimes certain problems that lead to drama, and most of the time to big drama in life. So that's why on the second level, one of our goal is really to talk about family health, and we have developed many workshops to talk about any aspect of family health, coming from your own health, to prepare you as couple and to make a family. So it's a bit the second topic. So we have developed some website for that, to give open source, like prenatal education.org, to give some open source of research and things to work on all these level of your life. So, and that leads us to a third level, that's when we start to help people around us. We open our consciousness to go a step further, which is connecting with other groups of people, not just our little family, but other groups of people. Exactly what we wish to do for the next 6 months, let's say. We wish, in fact, to come back in January and to cross all over the west part of America, of the United States, to meet other centers and the prenatal centers and women and men to share this type of education. There is so many things to know. There is things to feed people, to know. For example, founding a family, working on ourselves, but to learn to weave positive links between each other. There is so many spiritual people which has different religion, and I know here that's what you do all the time, to weave links in all religions. It's about time to really consider as brother and sister, no longer, oh, you from this church and this church, we cannot cope together. It's over, come on, we're Facebook today. I mean, it's not, we have to remove the board in the beehive. So, because that's what makes the bees attacking each other. And for that, it's true that we have to be, like in nonviolent communication, sharing the value we are worshipping, and be very gentle and light in the belief system of each other. But that's what we could learn thanks to this amazing man. It's a wonderful tool to do that, either in the level of different type of spirituality, because we know most of war starts with philosophy. In fact, it's usually philosophy that attack each other, the materialistic one, the spiritualistic one, and the spirituality everybody attack everybody. So it's so important when we feel fed, when we have with a little community around us to help each other. We realize how it's like a fine-tuning of what we have to work on ourselves, and then we are more ready and able to meet other community, and it's always another moment where we do another fine-tuning, because we meet people with different landmarks, and they make echoing on us, oh my God, this need, I forget to feed it. We come back always to the need, because more our needs are fed, more we become a light. We remember what Buddha made when he was under the tree, and he finally traveled all inside him and all around the world to finally connect and be fed by each part of the creation. And because each part of the creation was in him, suddenly he met the Creator, because he finally have a right picture of him, him or her, depending today how we see him. So yes, to weave this connection is another type of work we like and we worship, to work on ourselves, in fact, in a certain point. And the last one will be to be able to welcome people in I.D.E.A.L Center, but either to share with other communities the importance to welcome people. Like in the past, in the family, there was always a plate for the traveler, you know, because the traveler is really the person that enrich you the more and make evolve the whole family. And for us to have a place to welcome, we call that companion in our in I.D.E.A.L society, to welcome companion coming in the excuse to help her for the garden, in excuse to help her for construction or other things. This is a way that they share our type of life. So we give a kind of environment around them which is completely new for them, and we hope to attract more and more young people and couples to be fed by something which is so important for the soul, for all this part of themselves, so they are able to develop, to take time suddenly to pay attention to certain needs that lead them to be so not well in their life, not healthy, and eventually so aggressive. So the idea is to really immerse them in this field, exactly what we do when we dance panorhythmy. We are in a such a world that suddenly all our cells are thrilled of joy because we feed them with so many, so vivid energies. And when it's in the daily life like that, that you experience kind of beautiful energies, the idea is to become this greenhouse that our founder, it was so valuable for her heart. Comment on dit ça? Petit cher à son cœur. Okay, so these are human greenhouse where people come, they take seeds, they are in the warm, there is fire and water, so suddenly poof, things flare up in themselves and come back to their life and be enriched on that. And I really deeply know that it's so important for all spiritual center to have this welcoming part in their structure, to be able to, and that's what we do. You do welcoming us today, to really first we receive all your beautiful energy, so it's suddenly expand certain cells that we tend to not expand enough, or in a different way. There is always something that's, oh, you have put water in a seed that I forget I have first, and I forget to watering. and second, after that we come back from this experience of immersion, so enriched, and we can bring back around us. So this fourth stage is really something that are so important in our commitment on Earth for this purpose of uniting humanity as one family.